Hello, good morning. Just to confuse you all, I'm here twice, as you can see. Keith, this is the real Keith Trevor. Uh, on my screen below me is Richard Sims, my colleague. He's our Inspec specialist. So the plan is today, I'm going to give you a brief presentation around the IET, who we are, Inspec and Inspec Analytics and Inspec Analytics Plus, and how they all fit together via the EBSCO platform, as it were. And then Richard's going to give you a quick guided tour within it live within the platform. So hopefully that'll take about 40 minutes, and then there'll be some time for questions and answers and or further demonstration if required. So if you don't mind, I'm going to turn my camera off just so we don't have any bandwidth issues. I've been having terrible connectivity this week. So I'll stop my camera and then start the presentation if that's okay. Share the screen is that one there. Let me know when you can see that.
Yes.
Got that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So now then, how does it work? Come on, move forwards. There we go. So the IET, who are we? We are the Institution of Engineering and Technology. That's our kind of mission statement across the top there. So we inspire, inform, and influence the global engineering community to engineer a better world, or that's what we try to do. We are, in fact, the largest professional engineering institution in Europe. We're a not-for-profit charitable organization, a membership organization as well. We have about 150,000 members across 150 countries globally. We're a learned society, been around a few years, since 1871, as it were. So I built up a huge amount of heritage built upon quality, integrity, knowledge transfer, and innovation, all in the engineering domain. We're an open science and open research institution. You may be aware that the IET, as of January 2021, transitioned all of its journals to open access, totally open access. We flipped everything. So everything now from 2012 through to today and onwards is available in open access. And that can be found via the IET's knowledge hub, as it were. We can send you some links to that. We have, of course, behind that, a whole host of archive content, and that's also available for purchase if required. Some of the brands that you may be familiar with, obviously Inspec, our A&I database, Inspec Analytics, which is our newly developed research analysis tool. Things like the ENT magazine, if you remember. In the UK, we have these things called the wiring regulations, and the IET produces these standards, as it were. We have IET TV, and we conduct various conferences via that platform. And then we have the journals and books. So that's a bit about us. Inspec Analytics. Well, Inspec is, as it says there, a well-renowned, high-quality specialist A&I database of engineering research. Inspec Analytics is the next step in our evolution, as it were, and what we've built in Inspec Analytics is a tool that allows quite sophisticated analysis of the underlying data source, which is Inspec. And we'll go into a bit more about how these two can be used in your workflow. So Inspec, what is it? As I said, it's an engineering-specific abstract and indexing database. There's over 50 years of content in there. What it's trying to do is enable your researchers to find the right answers first time, every time. It's an efficiency tool, more than various other, let's say, free scholarly research tools on the market. And I'll show you a bit of research that we did on that later as well. It's engineering specific. We've just passed the 21 million article mark that we've indexed within the platform from over 700 publishers. It's what we'd call a granular ontology. We have a very unique indexing process where we actually use humans, would you believe, subject matter experts. So most of our indexers are PhD qualified in their subject fields. That said, it's still a two-step process, and we use AI and ML artificial intelligence, machine learning processes to help categorize and index the content. And that allows us to get down really granular levels, down five levels. I'll illustrate that in just a second. It's intuitive. Hopefully you'll see it's an intuitive tool via the EBSCO platform. Easy to use and provides accurate answers first time, as I say. It's state of the art, updated weekly. And as I said, we're up to 21 million records. So another 1 million research records roughly are added every year. This is a bit about the split. So 11 million records around physics, 8 million for electronic and engineering, computers and control, 6.5 million, mechanical and production engineering, 2.5 million. Over 20% of the content indexed is actually open access, and that obviously is growing with the proliferation of open access as we move forward. Let's see, just a bit about the same sort of slide there, but on the right-hand side here, you've got the content type. So you can see the 65% of the content indexed as journals, 33 conferences, preprints, reports, etc. So that's the kind of a brief summary of where the content comes from. This is the research I was talking about earlier. We did a recent survey, 350 researchers, and it came out that Inspec users spend 25% less time on literature searches than users of the leading free scholarly search engine, naming no names. But basically what that was telling us was that by using an engineering specific tool, you're much more efficient in your workflow. You're not getting the noise and the distraction, if you like, from a search which is not specific to what you're trying to achieve or find. And again, we will show you some of the precision searching technology, as it were, or capability. So just in terms of the content indexing, as I said, we use subject matter experts, as it were. So they'll obviously be able to differentiate between Mercury, the element, and Mercury, the planet. Or another example would be 5G and 5 grams. So it's that kind of disambiguation of obviously that humans can do, and that helps us when we're indexing at granular level. This is a kind of an illustration of that granular level. So if we follow that through from the 4 high-level subject categories, electronic engineering down first level to magnetic and superconducting materials, then down another level to superconducting materials, down another level superconducting devices, and then down a final level superconducting coils and magnets. Now we've got all the data around these because each of these items will have been indexed to one of our numerous levels of indexing, as it were. So you'll be able to find the finite differences between or illustrate the differences between these research areas, and that allows for some very deep analysis. I'll come back to that because that's related to Inspec Analytics, and that's kind of, if you like, in a nutshell, that's Inspec. So with that data, we've built Inspec Analytics, and the reason behind that is that's the kind of, I suppose, the need, if you like, at the top left there. So engineering research, as we all know, it continues to grow at an exponential rate, as does all research globally. So navigating that complex landscape is very challenging. And there's an increasing need to assess the value and impact of research to guide research strategy and guide your research workflows. So it's been developed, powered by Inspec data, and in a nutshell, as it were, to inform and optimize your research strategy. What do we mean by that? So if you like, across the top there, the purple boxes, we've got 4 main users, if you like: researchers themselves, we've got the library team, the engineering faculty, and research management. And there's no bias to any of those. All of those functions can gain a lot from the use of Inspec Analytics, and Inspec Analytics Plus. What is it trying to provide data on? Well, things like improving collaboration. So exploring your current collaboration network, finding collaborators, subject matter experts from any institution in the world, be that academic, corporate, government, and we can split those levels down so that you can find specific researchers within corporate, within a certain geographic locality. We can measure impact and effectiveness of those collaborations. So where are you having the most bang for your buck, as it were, in terms of your outreach and your knowledge transfer? The competitive intelligence side of things, pinpoint competitors, as it were, and or collaborators, who's researching what. This is all open, so you'll be able to see every other institution in the world where they've published research in engineering fields. You'll be able to see that, what they're doing, and what the impact of that is. Discover emerging growth niche areas, analyze trends, explore complementary research fields. So there's a couple of bits of functionality, let's say, within the tool that allow you to do that quite easily. Look at complementary and or multidisciplinary research areas, as it were. Evidence research strengths, so to benchmark and evaluate your research or anybody else's research against anybody else. So it's a benchmarking tool as well. And then, of course, support IP commercialization and knowledge transfer, the kind of an age-old problem. How to do that? Well, you'll be able to find other like-minded institutions and or corporates, governments, you name it, where they might be researching in the same field, and there might be areas for collaboration, etc. And then, of course, informing strategic decisions. So that's kind of what we can do with Inspec Analytics. So if you've got a subscription via EBSCO to Inspec, you also get Inspec Analytics, what's called standard, as part of that subscription, as part of your license fee. Then there's an additional module called Inspec Analytics Plus. Inspec Analytics Plus will give added an added data set, let's say, and this is where you'll then be able to measure impact, because it brings in citation data, plus a couple of other bibliometrics, some of which we've created, as it were, and we'll show you one of those. One of those is called C level, so the citation level score. And this is a way to help benchmark and normalize the citation behavior or analyze the citation behavior within specific subject fields, etc. So this additional level of data really enhances the capabilities and the possibilities for research assessment. And this is kind of the last slide here. So kind of a why. Well, it's powered by Inspec. It's intuitive. Hopefully you'll see that when Richard demos the platform. It's precision analytics, so you'll be able to obtain the granular research intelligence. It's efficient, so it hopefully makes your researchers and anybody who's using the tool more efficient in terms of their workflow to help improve outcomes. And then the coverage, this is just a high level view, but we've got just over 30,000 organizations, as I say, academic, corporate, government, health, institutions, all indexed within the platform. We have 3,500 subject classifications, and then we have these control terms or keywords, 10,000 of them. So you're able to get down to very, very granular level analysis of research outputs. So kind of in a nutshell, that's what we're here to talk about today. So at that point, I will stop the share and hand over to my colleague Richard, and I'll put my video back on.
Thanks, Keith. So maybe I should do the same as you and stop video. I don't have the fastest connection in the world, so sometimes it can cause problems as well, though it does seem to be working very well today, thankfully. So I will share with you my screen.
Yep, we got that.
You got it. Of course, everything is hidden. Right. So yeah, so the purpose of my demonstration is to show you some of the functionality of Inspec Analytics Plus. As Keith has said, there are two versions of the of Inspec Analytics. There is a version which is available to all Inspec subscribers as part of the subscription fee that they pay for that. And then there is Inspec Analytics Plus, which is available for a small additional fee. So any subscriber to Inspec via EBSCOhost or EBSCO can access Inspec Analytics Plus, or sorry, can access Inspec Analytics through their use of Inspec on EBSCOhost. So I will sign in. So this is really my starting point. I can select the databases I want to search. And just as a simple type of search, so Inspec has a lot of value add features which allow you to search, for example, using standardized language, which has been applied by our Inspec specialists. But I will just carry out a simple keyword search today. And when we get the search results, you can see that included in the information that allow you to review the results in a little bit of detail. You have a link here which says search Inspec Analytics. So this takes me through to the Inspec Analytics platform. So probably the easiest way to access the platform.
Richard, sorry to interrupt there. Also, you saw there was a link to the full text. The full text.
Sorry, yes,
the dynamic link to that full text article, so you could go through to that as well if it's available.
Yes.
Yeah.
Paula, you were going to say something about that?
Yes, because you are not enabled to access all EBSCO databases, but in case somebody is interested in the package that we presented at the beginning, so instead of academic search, it will be engineering source. So if there is a full text available, you can find the link directly at the bottom of the bibliographic record. So it was just, this is the reason why I selected also academic search that is not specific on engineering, but was just to show you in case a full text is available. It can be an open access full text as we saw before, or is a full text in PDF or HTML that are available inside the database. Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I should not go forward so quickly. So I've clicked on a link, and this takes me through to the home page of Inspec Analytics. So depending on the subject that you want to analyze, you want to seek trends. So Inspec Analytics has a lot of functionality, of course, not all of which I'm going to talk today. But hopefully, as I go through my prepared demonstration, you will be able to see on the screen a lot of the functionality that you can move forward with or examine in more detail. And of course, we're always happy to discuss any of the functionality that you see if you require more information. Okay, so my prepared presentation is really to seek out information which might be useful to a university who is seeking to maybe identify areas where they could improve their research on, and then maybe to identify possible collaborators in order to move forward with that. Now, Inspec Analytics has three different types of information that you can use to carry out your analysis. First of all, you can look at individual organizations or organizations. You can compare organization against organization in terms of their research activity. You can also look at subject areas. So I look at global trends in particular research areas, this using either the subject classifications or the control terms. You can identify journals that a researcher might want to be to seek to be published in, or to help develop the university's library holdings. So today we're going to look at organizations, and I'll click here. And this takes me through to a homepage for organizations. So hopefully I'm able to show that it's a simple, straightforward platform to use. Here, you can export many of the analysis that you do, either in PDF or CSV format. And you can see that the information in Inspec Analytics takes you back to research which was carried out from 2013 onwards. At the bottom, you have then a list of universities. Its default is to arrange this by volume of scientific literature published by those universities. So at the top, you see Tsinghua University in Beijing, China, who since 2013, in the subject areas which are covered by Inspec, they have published 59,701 documents. Moving across, you see additional information. Anything which has this diamond symbol indicates that it is an Inspec Analytics Plus feature. So anything without that diamond feature is available to all Inspec subscribers without additional fee. So we have the volume of content. We see the trend for the content. Is it increasing? So are there publishing activity increasing or decreasing? Then you have a measure of quality, I suppose. So how many times these 59,701 documents have been cited, and then also the average time cited. So those give you the ability to not only look at volume of content being produced, but also how valuable other researchers have found it. You then have a breakdown of subject area. So how many articles are published in physics, electrical, electronic engineering, computing and control, and mechanical and production engineering. You also have a little graph here, which a little visualization, which allows you to estimate the breadth of the research in these subject areas. So this is based on the Inspec classification, and it's telling us that of the I think about 1,500 individual classifications which are relevant to the area of physics, 82.1% of those are applied to Tsinghua University research documents. So it gives an indication just to say that the research across physics is pretty comprehensive. So rather than look at just the default visualization, I can tailor this and I can refine the results to individual organizations or organizations based in a particular geographic location. So let's take a look at a list for Italy. So I can apply that. So I have refined the list according to geographical location of Italy. And I can see at the top, From the Inspec point of view, the Istituto Nazionale di Fisica Nucleare is the top, the most active in terms of publication, with over 19,000 documents. Next is Politecnico di Milano. I can obviously change the order of these by clicking on the top list, and then that will change the order of the of what we're looking at. So I can list by time cited, average time cited, etc., etc. So let's take a look at Politecnico di Milano. So by clicking on that, it takes me through to a home page. So each of the 10,000 institutions that we have information on within Inspec Analytics has a page like this. Now, it's important to point out that when it comes to publishing, researchers aren't always good at standardizing the way that they represent their organization on the paper that they've published. And that leads to a certain amount of fragmentation in the number of papers that might be found for that institution. Now we get round that issue by using something called Ringgold numbers, which is an indexing system aimed at standardizing the representation of an institution. So irrespectively of how the authors have defined their institution, the Ringgold number should ensure that we have a comprehensive list of that institution of research documentation. We have first a view of their research trend from 2013 in total. And then instead of a graphical view, you have a numerical view of this as well. So of the 30,000 institutions, sorry, did I say 10,000? I meant 30,000 institutions that are covered in Inspec. Politecnico di Milano is 78th in the world from that. In terms of volume published, we can see how their research activity is trending. So in this case, since 2013, it has increased by 32%. And then you have the Inspec Analytics Plus feature, which represents that in terms of citation. Then you have some views which allow you to analyze just exactly where or what the institution is researching. And beneath that, then you have the ability to see who they are collaborating with. So this again will be across all subject areas that they're researching, and actually what their research activities are as well in terms of using the Inspec control terms. So to take a look at this in more detail, I can display, say, the top 10 activities. So what I want to do is to look at the top 10 activities and see how, which ones are on the up, which ones are in decline. You can read a lot of this from the tabular information that you see here. But you can also visualize it graphically. And this initial graphical representation shows us the volumes of publications in each area. Now I can change the view. So we've got a trend chart being shown here. I can change that to a histogram, which sometimes, depending on the visualization that you're trying to do, is more or is easier to look at the information on. And I can also change the information which is being displayed. So at the moment it's articles, but I can also show it by citation level score. So just to explain a little bit about what citation level score is, you can see in the table that for each of the subject areas that Milano is researching, you have the number of times that the papers on those subjects are cited, the average time cited, and then you have the citation level score. Now, if I hover over the little diamond symbol, you have a little explanation about what this is. But essentially, it's a measure as how the university's activity in that subject area is holds up against a global average. So anything where the number is above 1, the university has a higher activity than the global average. So that it's
sorry, Richard, not an activity, but an impact, as it were. So
an impact, yeah.
At 1.66, that top one, finite element analysis, the institution's research is receiving 66% more citations than the global average for research in finite element analysis. If it was below 1, it's just a ratio. So if it's 1 is the global average, if it's below 1, if it was 0.8, then they're getting 20% less citations than the global average.
Yes. Okay, so for the 10 subject areas that I've selected, you can see that the citation level score, or the C level score, as we describe it, they're all above the global average. So apart from one, which is learning artificial intelligence.
Could we look at the graph, Richard, above?
Yeah.
So a visualization as well, just an easy way to look at these kind of things. Where the dotted line there is the global average. So for each of these subject fields, you can see the research is having more or less impact, as it were, according to citations, than the global average for that field. Thank you.
Okay. So we've identified a possible area where the university is obviously active in researching, but they have not reached a level where they are punching above their weight, or they're above the global active. So they may identify this as an area that they want to develop. Okay. So what we can do is we can take a look at the subject area of artificial intelligence in a little bit more detail. And here, along with all of the other control terms that we have within the Inspec thesaurus, we have a page which displays research activity in that area globally. So here we have subject areas which are linked to artificial intelligence. So research areas where artificial intelligence has been used. You have also subject classifications in the same area. So you have a couple of different options for looking for areas where this technology could be applied. You have a list of journals where papers are commonly published, and conferences where papers are commonly presented in this area. We also have organizations. So which organizations in the world are researching this area? So this is the type of information that the Politecnico may use in order to identify possible collaborators. Now, it's very common to see a lot of Chinese institutions at the top of many of these lists these days. Certainly in terms of volume, they do publish a lot. But again, I can tailor the platform, the visualization, to look for institutions which may suit the Polytechnic's sorry, excuse me, may suit the Polytechnic's research strategy. So again, I can refine the list to look for document institutions in Italy. And here we have a list again. Politecnico, in terms of volume, is the biggest publisher in Italy in this area. And then we have Sapienza, and third on the list we have Trento. Now, the University degli Studi di Trento stands out to me on this list, simply because its average times cited figures are so much higher. So they don't have quite as many papers published in this area, but the papers that they have published are cited significantly more times than any of the other institutions in Italy, according to the Inspec data. And we can visualize that as well by selecting. And we can see how publishing activity has trended since 2013 at both universities. Okay. So I can look in more detail by going to the Università degli Studi di Trento website or page. And say, for example, I want to look to see who they are collaborating with. So I have a link here. And you see actually the collaborators quite an international group of institutions. So the top collaborator is based in Trento, the Bruno Kessler Foundation, I presume that is. And then Chinese institution here in the UK, University of Oxford, Saudi Arabia. So there is a wide range of institutions that they are collaborating with. But again, if I refine the list to Italian institutions, it's interesting to see that there are quite a few institutions that they collaborate with, but Politecnico di Milano is not one of them. So they obviously have an expertise in artificial intelligence. So this would indicate to me that it is an area that maybe Politecnico di Milano might want to look into and possibly explore collaborations with Trento. If I go back to the original page, you can see that we can also look at who is researching this particular area at Trento. So we have a list of authors along with the number of articles that they have produced. So these could well be people of interest to reach out to and to discuss forwarding or furthering the Polytechnico's research activity.
Richard, thanks for that. Just to add, obviously what Richard's shown there is a kind of a comparison between the two institutions and their collaboration behavior, I suppose. So it would seem that De Trento has a much more international reach with its artificial intelligence research outputs. And is that one of the reasons why they're getting more citation impact? Unknown. We can have a look at that. We can question that, but it's a possible answer compared with that of Milano. The authors there represent, if you like, collaborators, potential collaborators that Milano researchers could reach out to, because it doesn't seem that there's any collaboration there. So again, a way to improve collaboration. And could that therefore Milano collaborating with de Trento and producing some outputs obviously have then an impact on Milano's average citation, which is about the global average or just under. So therefore increasing that.
Yeah.
But I wonder whether another strategy could be to look at the publication strategy of Milano. So maybe, Richard, we could look at artificial intelligence and the publications, or the journals, sorry, and the conference papers, so that we can see where the global research output in that research field is being published. And that may then inform their decisions around their publication strategy.
Okay, I can do that very quickly. I'm sort of aware that I'm overrunning. Okay, that's. So I've come back to the subject page related to learning artificial intelligence. So if I just scroll straight down, we can see that there is a list of journals here. Now, all of the visualizations that you see on this, I suppose you could call it homepage. You've got the top 20 institutions, and you can see at the top
journals.
Sorry, journals, yes. You can see at the top that archive is a very popular place to be published in. Now I can look in more detail at the journals, and I can click on a few of those, and I can visualize the trend. So are these becoming more popular journals or becoming less popular journals? So the one in blue, which is IEEE Access, seems to have become a lot more popular in 2019 as compared to 2018. But not only in terms of volume. Again, depending on what you want, or maybe what stage you are in your research, you may be quite happy to be published in a journal that publishes high volumes. But maybe as you develop through your research project, maybe you're looking for a journal which has a higher citation count. So we have this information here as well. So if you compare IEEE Access, which has a citation count of a time cited 3,036 citations in total, which gives you an average citation count of 0.45. Beneath that, neurocomputing, which has an average time cited count of 4.93. So possibly that might be a good journal to be published in. I think probably depending again on the subject area around or associated with the artificial intelligence, neurocomputing sounds quite like a specialized type journal to me. So the tool gives us the opportunity to review the journals where this subject matter is published, and it is, again, you can view the information in a number of different ways.
Okay, Richard,
So some of these stand out.
Should we stop there for the minute and see if there's any questions around? I mean, that's not everything. I mean, you can see on the left-hand side there, there's a few more subjects or functionalities that we can get into, that we can look at. We can benchmark institutions versus other institutions with some of the tools and functionality we have. There's a lot more behind it, and breadth and depth. And maybe the best thing to do would be to get trial access to it, to try it out for yourselves and see what you think. Test drive the platform, as it were. But if we stop there for now and maybe take some questions if there is any.
So there aren't any questions right now, but please feel free to ask any question using the chat box.
If I may as well, just if I can share another slide that I've got.
Sure.
Apologies, this is a list of UK institutions, as it were, because this was done for a UK institution, but it's a kind of, and I think this is a global phenomenon, but in terms of the library's position within an institution, they're very much the hub within an institution and a key stakeholder in the whole research workflow. And there's been certainly a kind of a recent trend in the UK where they've built research support teams within the libraries, and they're acting as the conduit between the researchers and the research office. And these are a couple of examples. The likes of Bath, Bath University has this research analytics team. So they're a specific unit within the library function to help their, if you like, these are the services that they offer down the bottom here to help their customers, their researchers with these kind of things. So to develop a publication strategy, evidencing the research strengths, benchmarking their profiles, identifying key researchers, find collaborators, explore the networks, all of the things that we've just seen that are possible within Inspec Analytics and Inspec Analytics Plus. So it's kind of helping the library team and the researchers themselves, and of course then through into faculty and research office. So it's this kind of I suppose use case. This is the application in the real world. If that helps sort of illustrate what you might do with this tool. There's my video. There it is. It is on. So yeah, if there's any questions after the meeting, please send them through. We're happy to answer them. As I said, I think probably if there is interest there, the best thing to do is to reach out, and we can enable a trial access to the platforms for you to test drive these things out and see if they might work within your institution.
E quindi se avete domande anche dopo potete mandarle direttamente a loro oppure a noi. Se volete attivare un trial non ci sono assolutamente problemi. Io credo che questa presentazione sia stata molto interessante e che lo strumento di Inspec Analytics vi dà una possibilità, diciamo, diversa rispetto, cioè uno strumento diverso rispetto a una semplice ricerca di un database online. Qui avete proprio la possibilità di analizzare le attività del vostro istituto, le vostre personali, e vedere anche quali sono altre istituzioni nel mondo che si occupano dello stesso argomento. Quindi è un modo per incrementare la collaborazione internazionale e anche riuscire a capire magari su quali riviste è più importante o meglio pubblicare articoli a seconda dell'argomento che si sta trattando. C'è una domanda. Can you see it, kids? Is have you normalized? Mi è sparita.
Okay.
Kids, you are mute. Kids, you are mute.
Sorry, apologies, I'm muted. Have we normalized the names of the institutions in Inspec Analytics, and for the authors, do you refer to the ORCID ID? Well, I think I'm correct in saying this, Richard, we don't use ORCID IDs at the minute. There is a project still looking at that. What you didn't see when Richard showed the potential author collaborators at De Trento, within that particular research field, there wasn't any duplicates that I saw there, but that you can get them being duplicated. And that, as Richard was saying earlier, can be dependent upon how the author themselves has put their name down in a paper. D. Stanton versus David Stanton versus David Anthony Stanton, whatever. So then you might get 3 author profiles. So you can still get that. That particular instance didn't have any, but no, we're not using ORCID IDs at this point, which again would help. What was the other question? Have we normalized names of the institutions?
Yes.
How do you answer that one, Richard?
Yes, so they are normalized in the way that we use the Ringgold numbers, which I suppose is a similar system for institutions as ORCID is for individual authors.
Yeah.
So each institution has its own ORCID or Ringgold ID, and we apply those to the organizations that we index within Inspec. So yes, you have, whereas with the authors, we like to leave it to the users to determine the individual authors. With the institutions, we have more confidence that what you're looking at is the information for an individual organization. Sorry, that's yeah.
Ci sono altre domande? Ok. Io, va bene, a questo punto, se ci sono altre poi domande che vi vengono in mente più tardi o dopo, come detto, potete scrivere direttamente sia ai colleghi di IET che a noi di EBSCO. Come detto precedentemente, la registrazione vi arriverà per email tra qualche giorno. E se desiderate un trial siamo disponibili. Tanto così per la cronaca, diciamo, questa caratteristica di Analytics Plus ha un costo veramente minimo rispetto al prezzo di Inspec normale.